I really don't know. I don't know.
Well, in any case, didn't grandfather die in 59? Your father?
Yes,
What time in 59?
he died. Yeah,
What month? Do you remember?
March.
So he can't have written this. If that can't be 59. It must have burned some other year. 34
Well,
or
that's
something.
somebody else is quoting
Or
him.
somebody else is
So,
putting
yeah,
it in. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
It's one of the handshake crew. Just messed
All
up
these
the
things that
family.
I didn't.
That's funny.
Okay, well,
Is this,
where do you want to go
that's
next?
40s. That's
these
also-
are
oh, here's some
occasional
older things. What's back here?
School.
What is this?
Those are Aunt Jessie.
Can we look at some of those?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
September 1901.
1901. Yeah. Let's see. She would have graduated from Grinnell in about 05 or 06 or something.
There
No,
she is
no.
standing
Let's
up.
see. He was born. I forget how much older he was than she.
Your father?
Yeah. He was born in 88, and she was born in, I don't know.
We'll find
I
it.
don't know.
It looks like it says Brown Studio, Webster City, Iowa.
Yeah.
Does that ring a bell? Brown
No.
Photography
Oh,
Studio?
yeah, well, yes, vaguely.
Okay. Beautiful dress.
Yes. That was,
01.
maybe that was a high school graduation.
Oh. Okay.
That,
So she was younger
she
than
didn't
your
go to
father.
high school, though. Grandmother didn't think her children, they were too good for the Webster City High School. She taught them herself
Homeschool.
through high school. So
Mhm.
she didn't have any high school connection.
Hmm.
Daddy rebelled, I think, about 8th grade or so, and he went to the public schools after
Right,
that.
because he's in the football picture.
That's right. Uh-huh.
So he must have gone to high school.
Yeah. So he was in high school, but she thought she could teach them better than the public schools. Can you imagine that woman? It's difficult. Yeah, it's difficult.
Do you remember her that way as a kind of a...
And not that way, no. Just what I've heard
Oh, okay.
about her.
Okay.
My recollections of her were not as that kind. She was. She liked to see us. We would go and revisit, and she could play little casino, and we played, and also one of the games where you move things around. I can't think. Not chess, but
Parcheesi or something?
that's something I can't remember now what. And she loved to see us, and she made a quilt for us, for me, and for Mother. She made a quilt for Mother that I had.
Yeah.
And but I don't except my close friend, my closest friend, who is still my close friend, was Marjorie Welch. Her father had the Welch's grocery down across from the fire station. Grandmother told me, she said, I don't think that she's an appropriate. She didn't want me to associate with Marjorie, and I just nodded and didn't pay any attention to her. But Marjorie was, she would wear jeans to school. She wasn't clean.
Yeah.
Her mother didn't know how to take care of children, and Marjorie sort of latched on to me, and we became very close friends all our lives. Yeah.
Do you have any memories of Aunt Jessie? How did she strike you, or what are you... She smoked,
She
right?
was just there. I can't remember anything in particular. She stayed with us when grandmother was gone at winter times for some reason or other, and she lived at our house in the room that Charlie had eventually off the bathroom, and she was there when Charlie was a baby because she helped me pull the. Well, I don't remember. No, she helped me pull a tooth because I must have been 5 years old. And I wrote a letter to grandmother saying that Aunt Jessie helped me with a washcloth and we pulled my tooth out. So she was there. And I can remember seeing her drive her little car.
Yeah.
But
And then she moved in next door to you in that small...
yes,
little
that was
house.
when I was in college. Or
Oh, that was later. Okay.
Late high school, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's funny. I mean, she was just such a presence all my life, that I don't remember any particular time when
Right.
about
Right.
it. Yeah, yeah.
Well, I remember when I was in high school, she was slowly going downhill with Alzheimer's. And she used to bake bread
Yes.
and came around to our house once a week, maybe
Yeah.
twice a week, with
Yeah.
fresh white bread in a basket covered with a
Yeah.
cloth.
Uh-huh.
And we would get it out, and I remember my father taking about half of that loaf, and the kids took the other half of the loaf, and it was just gone
yeah.
as soon as it showed up, but it was still warm.
Yeah. Oh, uh-huh.
And then she started not being able to make the route.
Yeah.
She ended up west of town, kind of wandering, thinking she was on
Oh,
her
I
bread
didn't know.
delivery route,
Ah,
and she wasn't.
I never knew that.
And
yeah.
she started coming over. She always came over for Sunday dinner, or it seemed to me she did. And after a couple of years, she was very antsy and would say, I must get home, I have visitors. She had a live-in nurse later in her
yeah.
life, and as her Alzheimer's got worse, she was always uncomfortable away from her house, uncomfortable in her house. It was sad.
Uh-huh.
We had a dog named Tess that was always asleep when she would come over after church for Sunday dinner, and she would always pet the dog, and the dog would always snap at her. And
Oh,
it
dear.
was like a
Yeah,
routine.
yeah. Well, before my
Yeah,
mother
sure.
died, when they would go to church, they'd have dinner down at the hotel. But then,
Because of the hatchery, there was no one to eat lunch, I wonder.
well,
Why
I
would
don't
you
know.
eat at the hotel?
When would that be? When my Daddy died in '59, so that would be sometime after, and Mother died in 65, 66 or something. So somewhere in that period, they would go to the hotel for dinner.
Together.
Yeah,
They got along.
they got along because Mother saw to it that they got along. I
Okay.
mean, Mother made the effort. She didn't really like her,
Uh-huh.
but she was kind. She was kind, and she was courteous, and that was one thing that they did together, was to go to church and go to the hotel for dinner.
Yeah. How about your mother and her mother-in-law? Did they get along?
I was surprised to find a quote from my mother that said that she thought my grandmother was kind of fun. But there was always that back in the back of her mind, the grandmother thought she was such a,
Right.
and mother's background from my father and the BAR and all that was better than grandmother's, but she never made an issue of that. But I knew I had heard about it.
These are little poetry,
Oh,
Aunt Jessie's
I
poetry.
was surprised that she had written poetry.
There was more of this. I just ran after Dad's death, I think, this last year. There were lots of pictures and papers and everything all over the house. And I just remember running across these in a portfolio of some sort and thinking they were kind of interesting, because I never knew she was a
I
poet
never-
either. But there was more, and I didn't snap it all, and
Oh.
as you know, I didn't get a good copy of everything. But
Yeah. Well, I didn't. I was quite surprised to learn that. I didn't know that at all. I think there was probably a lot to her that I didn't really know.
okay, so can you read that? Can you make that out?
Then I'm aware of spaces. I know the world is wide. Listen, I do not hear the morning in a wild country, and I have loved since a child. That's only who say so, though it's only I who say so. And all the countries cut up now, but never mind, they can't develop Eden, nor exploit paradise, nor drive from a wilderness in my eyes the bears, eagles, and buffaloes. That's really quite musical, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. It is.
And profound.
I wonder if it comes from her time in Colorado. That's sort of the nature, the buffalo and eagles,
I
and
never
not
thought
exactly
it could
Iowa
be.
things.
It could be. She was. I'm not quite sure what the relationship was with what's her name. Anyway, I have a feeling.
Oh, Mabel.
Mabel.
The old woman in Colorado that
Yeah.
they stayed with. Mabel wasn't her
No,
name.
it
Mabel?
wasn't Mabel.
Marvel.
Anyway, I have a feeling, and I have never said this, and I don't know whether I want you to repeat this to anybody else or not. I have wondered if Aunt Jessie was perhaps bisexual.
Me too. Me
Have you?
too. Yes.
Yeah.
And exactly if those long, languorous summers with
Yeah, with Hazel.
Hazel.
Was her name. Yeah, they were so compatible
Yes.
and so loving to each other, and took care.
Yeah.
Hazel took care of Aunt Jessie,
Yeah.
and I have wondered about that. Yeah, and the fact that Aunt Jessie didn't want to get married to this man that was proposing to her. She's,
I have no trace of that, but is there any? How do you know of a man trying to marry Aunt Jessie?
he wrote a letter and asked her to marry him, and she went to grandfather crying. She said, "I don't want to marry him," and he said, "You don't have to." Yeah.
Okay.
And it was somebody in the local group in Webster City. I don't know.
How did you know that story?
I think Aunt
Seems like
Jessie
a very-
told me.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah. I bet there's no other way I would know it. Yeah.
Yeah,
So she must have told me.
right. Yeah, I often thought the same thing, that there was a kind of a female space out there in Colorado that was very comforting.
Uh-huh.
You didn't have to be, you weren't under the microscope of small
That's
town
right.
life.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. And I was glad that she had that.
Yes.
Because she was so happy
Uh-huh.
with that. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Okay, let me, well, anyway, do you want to read one of these?
No. Well, I was wondering about the time. If we're going to get through a lot of this stuff, we probably.
Well, it's as much,
If you would like to take anything back with you, or whatever,
I have copies,
you have copies. Okay.
so that's not a problem.
Now this is more.
Oh, here we go, speak of the devil.
Yes, that's. I put them together. That's Aunt Jessie and Hazel.
Yes,
Okay.
more Aunt Jessie pictures, I guess.
Yeah.
So was Hazel the elder or Aunt Jessie the elder? Aunt Jessie looks older than Hazel.
Hazel
here.
was. Aunt Jessie was the older one, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
1966, this is. It's after her loss, right? I think I have in here somewhere the story of her getting lost in Colorado.
Oh,
Aunt Jessie.
that was in the early 70s.
Was it that late?
I think
thought
it was
early
72 or
60s.
something. I was
Okay.
looking at that the other day. I think
Let's
so.
just see. This is a strange picture.
Well, that was a posed picture, of course, from in the studio.
Mm-hmm.
But
At a time when an Ottoman look was popular for young, this is the 1880s maybe, when Aunt Jessie is a young child.
I don't know.
I'm guessing that myself.
I never. To wonder about the costume never occurred to
Well,
me.
look how strange. It's a fez. Kind of a. I just assumed it has an Ottoman inspiration, mainly because of the hat, I guess.
I just thought, well, she was just dressed up in her Sunday finery. I never
Oh.
thought of anything different about
I
it.
think it's an ethnic costume of
Well,
some
it
sort.
could be. I can't imagine that grandmother would do an ethnic costume, though, when her own thing was so important. Her own image was so important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't that a beautiful picture?
That's a lovely picture of her. Yeah. Now that would be college days or after. I'm sure.
And a ramrod straight
Yeah,
posture
yeah,
seemed to be important to her, or at least
Well,
in the
this one's
clothing.
01, so this is not too much different from that.
No.
Anyway, but yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, and we've seen this one already.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
It's a copy.
What is this?
This
Rome,
is-
Italy. Oh, embassy. An emergency passport. I had never seen anything like an emergency passport. And why it was issued?
To Jessie,
Jessie A. McMurray, Jessie Arnold McMurray.
and that is your grandmother? Who's
No, that's Aunt Jessie.
That's Aunt Jessie's name
Yeah.
was Arnold? Oh, I didn't
Jessie
know that.
Arnold.
Okay.
Arnold was. Why was she named that? Jessie Arnold. There's grandmother and grandfather's middle names. Grandmother was always known as Sarah Jessie,
Uh-huh.
and grandfather was Leslie Arnold.
Oh,
I have a feeling that my grandmother was so important to herself that by choosing the middle names, she got her name for her daughter. I don't know if that's fair or not, but I have a feeling that that was why she chose the middle names. And Aunt Jessie always wished she had been named Sarah Jessie, Sarah Leslie, after their first names.
Instead of Jessie Arnold.
Jessie Arnold.
Arnold's a terrible middle name. Isn't it?
Yeah, but why it's an emergency, I don't know.
Well, she must have lost her passport. Rome, Italy. What's
Yeah.
the year? Do you see
Yeah.
a year anywhere? Not.
And is there a date on this now?
Age 23 years. That's how old she
Oh,
is.
20. But
It must be a date. 1907, it looks like.
Oh, yeah, okay. 1907.